Weather Xtreme video for Monday, the 15th of February. I'm James Spann. Got a pretty active weather day coming up today, and for Alabama, the risk is not from any winter weather problems, but from the chance of severe storms, as you'll see. Let's check it out. This is the water vapor satellite view as the day begins. We have a trough axis approaching from the west, and that's going to set up some really nasty weather, severe weather down here. Winter weather problems up in the northeast United States. And early this morning, we have rain falling. That was the radar at 5:08. Rain in a couple of batches. And we note some lightning output near Starkville, Mississippi. And the air is fairly stable, so those storms are elevated, but we'll have to watch them later today to see if any can become surface-based. Freezing problems not here. Look at Muscle Shoals. They're at 51 to start the day. Birmingham at 46. The cold spots, Fort Payne, and even there, they've got 36 degrees. So obviously, we'll have no icing problems in our state today. And around the nation, it's 61 down in New Orleans. Shreveport at 63. And that warm, unstable air is going to be working in here. And we'll just see how warm we can get today. Both the GFS is showing 61. The NAM is at 58. And that's going to be the big question mark. It's the amount of instability for severe storms. And again, north and east of the state, it's winter weather problems, winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings all the way from northeast Tennessee to Maine. There's a freezing rain advisory down into northeast Georgia. I think the bulk of the problems will be a little north and east of Atlanta. But this is the day one convective outlook, the standard slight risk of severe weather on the Gulf Coast from around Morgan City, Louisiana, over to Apalachicola, and a marginal risk surrounding that. Here's a closer look at our state. The marginal risk is south of a line from near Moundville to Wetumpka to Eufaula. The standard slight risk includes Mobile, Baldwin, and Escambia counties down in southwest Alabama. And obviously that's where the higher risk of severe storms will be, but there could be some up in the marginal risk area as well. We'll take a look at all the specifics here in just a second. And some pretty good rain with this thing. We're expecting rain amounts of about 1 inch for much of the state over the course of the next 24 hours. And then after that, things look pretty dry for the rest of the week and will turn nice and mild later this week. All right, model fans, here we go. The GFS. The 06E run, valid today at noon. There's your trough. Surface low is over North Mississippi. And then at 6 o'clock, the surface low is coming across northeast Alabama, about 1,006 millibars. So let's take a look at some of the severe weather parameters. This is the low-level jet, 850 millibars. And that's showing some 50-knot winds in that zone. This is valid at 4 o'clock today, and that's certainly sufficient to get some storms shaken and baking, and again, mainly in that axis from Mobile up to Montgomery and maybe Lake Martin. But this, of course, is the limiting factor. This is the instability, the surface-based cape, and you can see the higher values from Demopolis and Linden south down to about Mobile. And that's the big question mark, and we'll be watching dew points carefully today. Now, the bulk shear values are pretty high. This is the 0 to 1 kilometer shear, and we've got some values exceeding 50 knots up around here in our part of the state, but they're pretty high down to the south as well. And that certainly could mean where we do see unstable air and we do see some surface-based storms, they could produce a tornado or two. And this is the significant tornado parameter. And you can see that the SIGTOR does reach 1 unit in spots over the southern half of the state. So, again, if you're, in the marginal and slight risk, just be aware there could be a few severe storms today, and I sure can't rule out the chance of a tornado. And some of the storms could produce hail and strong winds as well, so be sure you can get warnings and kind of pay attention today. Tomorrow, a different kind of day. We should be dry. We do note there's a clipper north of the state. You see a little surface low in southern Illinois. We'll call it partly sunny and no cold air involved. The high tomorrow should be around 60. And I guess it's conceivable that clipper might bring a sprinkle somewhere over the Tennessee Valley tomorrow evening, but the air is going to be very dry, and I'd say that's pretty unlikely. Wednesday, temperatures may be backing down a degree or two but in the wake of that clipper, but not by much. We'll see highs probably between 55 and 60. It'll be a pretty decent day. This is Thursday. We're dry, and we go up in the 60s. The GFS showing 64. And how about 70 on Friday? Spring fever is going to be breaking out. Got a cold front north and west of the state. And Saturday, the front drifts in here and just fizzles out. We have upper ridging. There's no support. And I guess it's conceivable with the dying front stalling out, there could be a few light rain showers, but I would certainly not call it a rainy day. And we stay very mild with a high between 67 and 70. And really the same thing on Sunday. Some clouds, maybe a light rain shower in spots, but I don't think the rain's too widespread or too heavy, and we stay very mild with upper 60s likely. And Monday, a trough begins to dig over the east, and it's going to push that surface boundary down to the south. But again, there's no real cold air involved here. I still think we see low 60s on Monday. The numbers might come down about 5 degrees, and that's about it. This is the end of the forecast period. Wednesday of next week, the 24th. That's a pretty good little trough digging through here, and a sharp surface low. 100,000 millibars shows up near Tupelo, and of course, that'll have to be monitored for signs of severe weather or heavy rain. But understand this is out there in the land of voodoo, just something to watch. Teleconnections, Arctic oscillation, tries to go negative toward the end of the month. And understand, we always have sharp cold snaps in March and April. Don't think winter's over yet, even though it's going to be awfully mild later this week. And the NAO stays generally positive. And the numbers, you see the big 7-0 showing up there on Friday. Temperatures come down a little bit toward the end of next week with highs back in the 50s. But again, no sign of any really cold air for the rest of this month. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you can't catch us this evening on the live stream or the television side, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.